And Dr. John Covington joins me now. Dr. Covington, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So you had some good news come out about some test scores. Tell us
Yes.
about that
Yes.
third round of testing.
Third round of testing. We're really excited about the progress that students have made as a result of the third test assessment that we gave. We used performance series, which is administered by Scantron. 44% of our students have achieved 2 years growth in the area of reading and 12% 1 to 1.5 years growth. And in the area of mathematics, we've had 48% of our students achieve 2 years growth, 17% 1.5 years growth, for a total of 65%. So when we look at the progress that students have made since the inception of the school year, it's exciting stuff. We're really excited about it.
I mean, that's to be able to measure that like that is outstanding. Have you been pleased with the way the school year has gone?
We've been very, very pleased with this school year when you consider the fact that we were responsible for starting a statewide system of schools, or a school district, from scratch. Certainly one would have to understand that there were going to be pitfalls and certainly obstacles that we were going to have to overcome, and we've certainly had our share of challenges. But at the end of the day, when you look at the progress that children and their teachers have made in spite of all of these obstacles, is absolutely mind-boggling, and we're excited about it.
People asking you questions about the EAA as you walk through the Grand Hotel?
Some. A lot of questions that's been asked so far has been about the news that we released yesterday or the day before yesterday about the growth that children have achieved as a result of the third assessment. There have been other questions, I guess, about where we are with the acquisition of new schools, since the EAA is supposed to be a statewide system of schools.
And right now you're only operating in Detroit
Right
with
now
15
we're only
schools.
operating in Detroit with 15 schools, and there have been some questions about that as well.
There are some questions also about the way the EAA is funded. Can you
Right.
explain how the district is funded?
Well, our school district is funded like any other school district in the state. And that is, we get a per pupil allocation through the foundation that comes from the State Department of Education, or that comes from the state. We also get federal dollars from the United States Department of Education, Title I, Title II dollars. Now, unlike most school districts, we don't get any local taxes. So basically, our funding comes from two primary sources, federal and state. The other funding that I think that's caused a considerable amount of questions is the dollars that have begun to flow from philanthropic groups, individuals, and/or foundations. And that is nothing more than startup dollars. One would have to understand that when we start a new system, we don't have students. And so we didn't begin to acquire state dollars until after count day, which is October the 1st. But
So
we
you
had
needed-
expenses prior to October the 1st, so how then do we take care of those expenses without dollars flowing from state funds because we have no students?
So you had that money from foundations. About how much does that make up of the budget that you have?
Probably, and it's really hard to say, that was basically the budget for our first operational year, because we weren't yet accruing dollars from the state because we didn't have any students.
Will you get money locally if the EAA is then codified into law?
If the EAA is codified into law, we still are not eligible for local taxes. And it's not really a problem for us, because when we look at the budget, when we look at our platform and our model of how we deliver educational programs and services, we can totally operate the EAA and sustain its operation within the state and the federal dollars that we get, even in the absence of any philanthropic dollars that we get from foundations.
Critics would say that the EAA is experimental and it's not proven, and it needs a couple more years to see if it actually works. What would you say to that?
I would say that that's certainly untrue. First of all, to meet children where they are in terms of closing the gap and teaching children that which they don't know, there's nothing experimental about that. When you look at the fact that when we acquired our schools, 18% of the children were proficient in reading, 2% were proficient in the area of mathematics, 0% were proficient in science, 2% were proficient in social studies, and only 7% were proficient in writing. And that this trend, when you look at trend lines over the course of the last several years, measurable student academic achievement for the children in the 15 schools that we acquired, and if you look across the state, you probably see the similar trend lines in the persistently low achieving schools. That's criminal. And so to say that we need to wait before we put into place a model that's going to serve children in ways where they can acquire the skills that they need to become college, career, and workforce ready is absolutely positively, in our mind, the right thing to do.
Do you anticipate more schools coming into the district?
We anticipate expansion in January, or at least the schools being named by the State Department of Education in January.
So next
this
year.
coming fall,
Okay.
we don't anticipate any expansion.
You'll stay with the 15.
Right, we'll stay with the 15 schools with the expectation that the State Department of Education will name for the 2014-2015 school year those additional schools that will be coming into the EAA outstate Michigan.
Dr. John Covington, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having
and
me.
Good luck.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.